Reading the title of this discussion might lead someone to believe it will delve into detailed techniques from experts about intimate oral affection. However, the focus here is quite different. It's about the kind of intimate affection that's centered on understanding and responding to your partner's unique desires and preferences. Think for a moment about those times when you've dropped hints to friends or family about what you hope to receive for a birthday or holiday. You were excited, waiting eagerly for the moment to unwrap the gift, only to find it wasn't quite what you envisioned. The well-meaning present is appreciated, and you're genuinely thankful that someone cared enough to give you anything at all. Still, inside, there can be a glimmer of disappointment because it didn't match the carefully dropped clues you shared. On the flip side, the giver, having chosen a gift based on their own sense of what might be right or fun, expects heartfelt gratitude and satisfaction. This situation, while common, can lead both parties to a quiet dance of pretending the gift was perfect, pretending the disappointment never existed, just to keep the peace and honor the spirit of giving. These moments are part of the human experience and teach us that communication matters deeply. When it comes to intimate relationships, the similarity is striking. Often, one partner may assume they understand exactly what the other wants or needs during times of close connection. Yet, much like the misinterpreted gift, assumptions can lead to misunderstanding and unmet expectations. Many couples begin their physical relationship with a whirlwind of excitement, fueled by youth, newness, and curiosity. Boundaries aren't always clear, and every exploration feels like a discovery. The attention exchanged feels balanced and mutually satisfying, especially when both partners are willing to listen and respond to subtle cues. But over time, preferences shift, certain actions lose their charm, or discomfort might emerge. In these moments, without open and honest communication, partners may simply stop engaging in the activities that no longer feel good, sometimes without even discussing it. This gradual retreat can reduce the diversity and spontaneity of shared pleasure, narrowing the intimate repertoire to what feels safe and familiar. The key to flourishing in a shared, intimate life is honest communication, which means not only expressing your desires, but also truly hearing your partner's. It involves saying clearly what brings you joy and satisfaction, and equally listening when your partner speaks about their needs. When approached with respect and care, this mutual exchange opens the door to deeper connection and greater fulfillment. Giving in this context is about prioritizing your partner's happiness, pleasure, and well-being rather than imposing your preferences. This selfless attitude enriches both people in the relationship, creating a cycle where the joy of giving brings a deeper pleasure than simply receiving. In the early days of our own relationship, we embraced every opportunity to make each other feel good through tender oral affection. The excitement wasn't just in the act itself, but in the shared pleasure it bore. I recall feeling a rush of happiness knowing that I could bring him to joyful release through attentive, loving care. Equally, he found great satisfaction in understanding what made me feel cherished and fulfilled. These moments felt perfect, like the world was simply right, that sacred space where vulnerability and desire met without fear. But as the years went on, we learned that no one is static. Our bodies, moods, and preferences evolved. There were times when discomfort led us to gently stop certain activities, sometimes without verbal acknowledgement. Over time, the list of what felt good had to be rediscovered, not assumed. We realized it wasn't enough to simply continue a routine. We needed to listen and talk, to rediscover each other intentionally. That's where true intimacy flourishes, within the courage to express what feels good and to receive your partner's wishes with an open heart. This kind of communication isn't always easy, especially because cultural, religious, and personal beliefs can shape how freely couples talk about physical affection. For many who come from backgrounds where intimacy is closely guarded or considered a private or even taboo subject, breaking through the silence can be a challenge. Yet, without this openness, assumptions multiply and satisfaction diminishes. We found that embracing honest dialogue about our sexual relationship, including the affectionate oral moments, strengthened our bond immeasurably. It took time, patience, and vulnerability, but the reward was a renewed closeness that deepened over the years. Moreover, in marriage, a monogamous partnership by definition, each person depends on the other to fulfill their emotional and physical needs. When one partner's needs are overlooked or unmet, it creates space for frustration, resentment, and distance. Silence or avoidance on such topics can unintentionally foster feelings of rejection or inadequacy. Therefore, it becomes a mutual responsibility to care, to express, and to seek fulfillment through cooperation and understanding. Reflecting on the analogy of gift-giving, sexual intimacy within marriage can be viewed as an ongoing exchange of gifts of attention, care, responsiveness, and pleasure. When these gifts are chosen thoughtfully based on your partner's desires and needs, they become treasures that nurture love. This mutual generosity enriches the relationship beyond physical satisfaction, cultivating respect, trust, and enduring affection. We encourage couples to recognize that excellence in intimate affection doesn't come from a place of assumption or one-sided expectation, but from continual learning and dialogue. Just as you wouldn't expect a gift giver to always guess correctly without guidance, you shouldn't expect your partner to know your preferences without clear communication. The willingness to be open, to express what brings you joy and what doesn't, along with the humility to listen deeply to your partner's wishes, creates a foundation for an intimate life that's vibrant, satisfying, and deeply bonding. The blessing in this exchange lies not just in what you receive, but in the joy of giving authentically to each other. When both partners offer their loving attention freely and with care, the romance grows, the emotional connection deepens, and the shared pleasure becomes a beautiful language of love that continually renews itself. It's a remarkable experience to spontaneously offer your partner affectionate oral care in a way that truly aligns with their desires, without expecting anything in return, although often that mutual pleasure naturally follows. Those moments when one partner is comfortably positioned while the other offers attentive and loving care can be so intensely arousing that it evokes bodily responses beyond simple enjoyment pressing into the surface beneath. Moving with a passion fueled by the joy of giving, these moments illuminate how deeply satisfying intimate connection can be when focused wholly on the other's pleasure rather than on performance or expectation. One of the most damaging attitudes a couple can have is entering intimacy with the assumption that they already know it all. Such presumptions close doors to discovery and growth and risk reducing connection to rote routine. Worse yet is the expectation that the other partner should simply accept this narrow version of intimacy without question. Over time, this stagnation can erode the vibrant life that sex once had. Our own journey took us from youthful exploration to marriage, parenthood, careers, homes, pets, and the busy swirl of everyday life. This added complexity can clutter private moments and diminish spontaneous closeness, but it doesn't have to. Along the way, as we embraced our faith and community, we encountered many ideas about what constitutes appropriate and right expressions of intimacy. The advice we heard was varied and often contradictory. Hearing different perspectives from friends, mentors, and faith leaders deeply shaped our understanding, but it also illustrated how personal and unique intimate experiences are. What works or feels good for one couple isn't necessarily right for another. The critical lesson was that the ultimate source of guidance must be the honest, open conversation with your partner. We know couples who have struggled deeply. Some women have found themselves so disconnected from their intimate lives that they lost desire completely, even avoiding physical closeness in response to discomfort or dissatisfaction. Men, too, have sometimes felt defeated and unwanted, believing nothing they do pleases their partner, leading to hopelessness about the state of their marriages. These challenges highlight the real dangers when communication breaks down and needs go unmet. Marriage is inherently a monogamous commitment, one in which the partners agree explicitly or implicitly to find fulfillment and satisfaction exclusively in each other. This exclusivity magnifies the importance of meeting each other's emotional and physical needs. When one partner rejects or refuses to fulfill the other's desires, it places tremendous strain on the relationship. Unmet needs create fertile ground for jealousy, insecurity, and even the temptation toward infidelity. Mutual care and attentiveness, therefore, are not only acts of love, but necessary safeguards for marital faithfulness and harmony. It's incumbent upon each partner to focus not on what they want to give, but what their spouse truly needs to feel loved, cherished, and fulfilled. This is not a one-sided task. Rather, it demands collaboration and willingness from both sides to explore, listen, and adjust. The intention should always be to enrich the other's experience, celebrating their unique preferences and boundaries. Our own sexual revolution was not a wild rebellion, but a quiet transformation born of honest dialogue. We learned to embrace candor about what really arouses us, what brings us joy, and what parts of intimacy we struggled with. Such honesty opens the door to a fuller, richer sexual life because it removes the walls built by assumption or embarrassment. Often, the courting process masks desires. We want to present our best selves, and sometimes hiding true interests seems safer than risking judgment or rejection. This withholding can persist even after marriage, with one or both partners silently hoping that someday they might share their real desires. For those of us with Christian values, this can be even more complicated, as certain fantasies or longings may seem at odds with what we believe is appropriate. Yet honoring those feelings with compassionate dialogue can lead to greater trust and depth, not moral failure. Focusing specifically on affectionate oral intimacy, this practice does not have to be confined to the bedroom or usual settings. Expanding the context can bring excitement and novelty to your relationship. Imagine sharing these moments during a long road trip, in a quiet corner at a celebration, or during a stolen moment at a gathering. Such spontaneity can invigorate your connection and remind you both that affection is a joyful, essential part of your bond that belongs to every part of life, not just routine times. Discovering new ways to connect requires openness and trust. It's important not to feel trapped by preconceived notions of when, where, or how intimacy should happen. Instead, embracing flexibility and mutual consent creates space for delightful surprises and joyful exploration. When both partners give openly and listen carefully, they find that these acts of affectionate care become not only sources of pleasure, but expressions of deep love and respect. If you have ever read any of our previous writings or comments, you might have come across our mention of what we call our sexual revolution. This wasn't about rebellion or wild experimentation. Rather, it was a profound transformation in our relationship that came about through honest, open communication about what truly moves us, what excites us, and what brings us closer together. Such candid conversations are crucial, but often difficult to have. In many cases, the process of courting someone involves masking certain desires or preferences out of fear that revealing too much might cause judgment or rejection. This withholding can continue even after marriage, with one or both partners quietly hoping that someday they might feel safe enough to share the authentic parts of themselves. Unfortunately, in many Christian marriages especially, this kind of openness can be even more challenging because certain natural desires might be viewed as inappropriate or unspiritual. This can create barriers to intimacy that become difficult to overcome. But dealing honestly with these feelings can lead to a deeper trust and a closer bond rather than moral failure or rejection. One of the biggest mistakes in intimate relationships is assuming you know best about what your partner wants or needs, without actually asking or listening. Assuming that affectionate oral intimacy has to happen in a specific way or place is just one example. In truth, such moments of closeness and care can happen almost anywhere. Sharing these expressions of love in unexpected places during a road trip, at a park, or quietly slipping away during a social event can infuse your relationship with excitement and keep the connection fresh and alive. When you free yourself from rigid ideas about when or where intimacy should happen, you create opportunities for spontaneous affection and joyful exploration. The true sexual revolution for us was less about physical acts and more about learning to speak openly and with honesty about our desires and boundaries. This requires courage, vulnerability, and a willingness to listen deeply. Through embracing this process, we found that our connection grew stronger, more intimate, and richer in ways we hadn't imagined. It wasn't always easy, sometimes awkward, sometimes challenging, but the rewards were immeasurable. When it comes to affectionate oral intimacy, honest communication is paramount. It's essential not only to express what you enjoy, but also to listen carefully when your partner communicates their preferences. By doing this, you create an environment where both of you can feel safe and supported in exploring what brings you pleasure. Trying new things together, as long as both partners are willing, can help you discover hidden joys and forge even stronger bonds. It's also important to remember that intimacy is a mutual journey. What brings one partner great pleasure might not be the same for the other, and preferences can change over time. Because of this, ongoing conversations about your needs and desires help keep your shared experience fulfilling and responsive to both your hearts and bodies. When couples commit to this level of openness, they not only enhance their physical connection, but also deepen emotional intimacy and trust. Many people find that the most satisfying moments happen when both partners are free from judgment and fully present just for each other. This presence allows you to explore desires without shame and to celebrate each other's uniqueness. Over time, the shared revelations about what turns you on and what feels good lead to a more vibrant and satisfying intimate life. Breaking down barriers involves patience and understanding. It means recognizing that sexual honesty is not something you achieve once and for all, but an ongoing process of learning and growing together. Whether you're newly married or have been together for decades, nurturing this kind of awareness and communication enriches your relationship profoundly. Ultimately, the heart of our sexual revolution was recognizing that authentic intimacy cannot thrive without trust and openness. These elements create a safe container where desires can be shared, boundaries respected, and love expressed fully. Rather than hiding parts of ourselves, embracing vulnerability invites our partners to do the same, allowing both of us to experience a deeper connection than we ever thought possible. In the end, this transformation brought us a fuller, more joyful shared experience, one where we could meet each other's needs honestly, celebrate our loves without fear, and continue discovering each other anew every day. This is the treasure available to all couples willing to embrace honest sexual communication as the foundation of their intimate lives. Affectionate attention focused on a woman involves a careful and loving approach, often utilizing the tongue, lips, and mouth in a way that brings deep pleasure and closeness. This type of intimate care can also incorporate other forms of stimulation, such as gentle use of fingers or appropriate toys, depending on what feels best for both partners. One thing that often surprises many is how a woman can come very close to climax, reaching a peak sensation only to have it fade away repeatedly. This phenomenon, known today as edging, involves bringing oneself to the edge of release multiple times before finally allowing the full experience to occur. While it can feel incredibly frustrating, shared patience and focused attention can transform it into an intensely powerful and rewarding experience when the climax finally arrives. It's important to understand that this technique is not unique to women. Men can experience similar sensations as well. Communication becomes key, here expressing when to stay there and continue what's working rather than switching things up prematurely can make a significant difference. Encouragement through soft sounds, moans, and verbal cues such as softer, harder, or a little lower helps guide your partner to maintain the right rhythm and pressure. Being receptive to these cues and responding with care boosts confidence and intimacy. Unlike the common focus on just one sensitive spot, true enjoyment for many women comes from attention to the whole area surrounding that zone. Gentle, sensual kisses along the inner thighs or softly caressing the pelvic area can heighten sensitivity and anticipation. Soft touches in less obvious places often create waves of pleasure that intensify the experience. A tender touch in these areas expresses affection and attunement to your partner's entire body, not just the obvious zones. The more attuned you are to what brings joy, the deeper the connection grows. Over time, many women find themselves experiencing multiple climaxes within a single intimate session. This isn't always immediately consecutive, but throughout the course of affectionate moments, it's common to feel insatiable, yearning for more as each wave of pleasure ebbs and flows. Sometimes the intensity calls for physical closeness, such as holding a partner's head tightly or grinding hips to increase sensation. Vocalizations including moans, whispers, or even playful talk add to the excitement and create a vibrant energy between partners. At other moments, positions may change to meet shifting needs, such as sitting on top to guide the interaction while breathing deeply and closing the eyes fully immersed in sensation. Alternate efforts like pinching nipples or incorporating different types of touch can add variety and deepen satisfaction. For many women, what works best is a gentle but purposeful use of fingers. For example, placing the palm upward with fingers slightly curved just inside can press against areas within the pelvis that, when combined with loving oral attention, elicit profound pleasure. Occasionally, exploring other areas with patience and careful lubrication can enhance sensation further. Though it might feel intimidating early in a relationship or marriage, open communication often paves the way for trying things that were once considered unthinkable. Mutual consent and thorough cleanliness create a safe and enjoyable experience when exploring sensitive spots such as the anus. Some couples find that inserting a finger or thumb carefully while continuing to attend other areas amplifies pleasure and can lead to intense, encompassing orgasms. Feeling the body respond, the tightening of muscles around a gentle touch can be both overwhelming and exhilarating. Yet, this is something that must always be approached with respect, willingness, and attentive communication to ensure that both partners remain comfortable and connected. With time, exploration, and honest exchange, loving oral attention can encompass all these dimensions and create a fulfilling, multidimensional experience for both partners. Discovering these nuances is an ongoing process. While online resources and videos can provide general tips and ideas, nothing replaces the value of direct communication between partners. Asking what feels best, where to focus, and how much pressure is just right builds confidence and trust. Listening carefully to both verbal instructions and nonverbal signals such as changes in breathing, muscle tension, or expressions empowers partners to adapt and respond effectively. Through this respectful collaboration, affectionate oral intimacy becomes both an art and a shared language of love. As experience and age bring changes to your sexual relationship, it's important to remain patient and attentive to each other's evolving needs. Sometimes health challenges or emotional stressors slow the rhythm of intimacy, but consistent care and understanding help navigate those seasons. We've found that at this stage in life, our relationship is more satisfying than ever before because we choose to love deeply and communicate openly. Intimacy is no longer just about physical acts, but about connection, trust, and the joy of being fully seen and cherished by one another. As men age, changes naturally occur in their bodies that affect their intimate experiences. These changes are part of life's progression and should not be taken as personal faults or shortcomings. For a partner, especially a wife, it's vital to approach these changes with empathy, understanding, and open communication rather than assumptions or blame. Each man is unique, and the key to sustaining a fulfilling intimate connection lies in talking openly about what feels good, what might have shifted, and how both partners can adapt to meet each other's needs with care and patience. One important area of attention is realizing that what a man enjoys and needs may vary from time to time. For example, some men appreciate gentle stimulation of the chest area, including playful pinching or gentle caresses of the nipples during moments of intimacy. This added attention can complement and heighten pleasure in ways that might not be immediately obvious. Additionally, certain men enjoy prostate massage, a practice that involves stimulating a deeply sensitive area that can intensify climax and overall sexual satisfaction. When performed with care, consent, and cleanliness, this can become a treasured part of an intimate routine that deepens connection and trust. Affectionate oral care is also about the way these moments are shared and experienced together. There is something profoundly bonding in softly engaging the sensitive areas with the lips and tongue while maintaining eye contact. Looking up at your partner, meeting their gaze with warmth and approval, can create an emotional intimacy that enriches the physical sensations. Such connection communicates love, appreciation, and trust, making the entire experience more meaningful. In our own relationship, we have noticed that with age, my husband's time to reach climax often lengthens. The sensations remain as intense, if not more so, but the process requires more patience and mutual encouragement. At times, this extended experience can be physically demanding for the partner giving oral affection, especially on the mouth, lips, and jaw. To maintain comfort and enthusiasm, it helps to combine oral attention with gentle manual stimulation, providing varied sensations and allowing for brief rests. For example, softly stroking the shaft while alternating with oral care can maintain excitement while easing physical strain. A particularly sensitive and pleasurable area is located on the underside of the male organ, where a thin fold of tissue connects the head to the shaft. This area responds beautifully to gentle licking, sucking, and rhythmic pressure from a thumb, and it can be a powerful focus for pleasure. combining hand movements with oral attention, for example, tightly gripping and stroking the shaft as you go up and down with your mouth can produce an especially satisfying climax. This coordination of touch and motion blends comfort with stimulation and often creates more intense responses than either action alone. While manually handling sensitive areas like the testicles, it's important to be gentle and tuned in to your partner's comfort. Holding the skin of the scrotum knot, squeezing the testicles themselves can add an additional level of pleasure when combined with affectionate oral care. Applying lubricant can enhance the sensation and reduce friction, making the experience more enjoyable and relaxed. These nuances in touch and pressure can bring out new dimensions of pleasure for both partners, enriching intimate moments. Oral attention is more than just the act of having one's partner's most sensitive organ in the mouth. It is about the connection, the presence, and the intention behind the gesture. Looking into your partner's eyes while sharing these moments can heighten excitement, build trust, and create a shared experience steeped in love and desire. This eye contact silently communicates appreciation and encourages openness, making the experience profoundly intimate beyond physical sensations. We share these insights with the hope that other couples might feel encouraged to explore affectionate oral intimacy with patience, creativity, and open hearts. Each relationship is different, and discovering what works best takes time, willingness, and tender communication. As we have grown older, our intimate life has matured and deepened, becoming richer and more satisfying than ever before. Though health or emotional challenges have sometimes slowed our pace or changed the rhythm, the love and respect we share continue to sustain and inspire us. Ultimately, affectionate oral care is about more than technique. It's a mutual gift of presence, trust, understanding, and joy. It's an expression of love that adapts and evolves with the passage of time, bringing two partners closer with every shared moment. By embracing changes, communicating openly, and honoring each other's needs, couples can cultivate a lasting intimacy that celebrates both the physical and emotional depth of their connection.